Hey guys, welcome to today's video.
And in today's video we're going to do a full price breakdown of how much it really costs to travel Australia for the past 6 months. Before we get into the numbers of it all, we'll give you a bit of a backstory of what we were doing before travelling and how much we saved for this trip in total.
Before we left, I was working a 9 to 5 as a travel agent.
And I was deckhanding on a commercial abalone diving boat for my dad, and I was also labouring for a tree lopping company.
Yeah, so why we left, we've always talked about travelling Australia one day, ever since we were in high school. It was kind of something that we thought about in the future as we were kind of more wanting to save for a house.
Yeah, and then it all kind of came down, it was always in the back of our mind, but it all came down to one day where I messaged Jade and just kind of said, if we do want to do it, just like say yes and I'll start getting the car ready, and she said yes, and then 6 months later we'll leave and on the road.
6 months is a pretty quick turnaround to be able to kind of pack up everything and leave for a trip. We've both been really good at saving, like
we
ever since we started
able to
working.
do it if we already didn't have savings, of course.
Yeah, pretty much ever since like my first job. I've worked multiple jobs since we're only 21 and 22, so since we first started working around 15 years old or whatever, I've always put money into a savings account, which has come in handy now.
Yeah, and obviously we're very lucky to be travelling at our age, so a lot of people can't or have other commitments, but working for my dad, I was lucky I could take long time leave away from work, and Jade quit her job as a travel agent, and
I feel like working in the travel industry as well, they were quite they were really good about it as well. Like my boss was stoked for me to be able to go out and do something like this. So yeah, it worked out. We were very lucky and it worked out really well for both of us.
Yeah. You might think travelling Australia is a huge cost, but it really doesn't have to be that way. There is ways to keep it budget friendly and keep the costs down.
Yeah, definitely. You can try and go for all the free camps or cheaper price camps over caravan parks, as well as eating out less and just trying to stick to your grocery purchases, or doing what we're doing, catching our own fish. That's helped. Yeah, that's helped quite a bit, but obviously it all depends on what you need and what you would prefer to do.
Yeah. And me and Jade both put $15,000 into a joint account for the trip, so $30,000 in total. And because we left at the end of Jan, so the 28th of January, so that gives us about 11 months till Christmas, and it equaled around $570 a week. We have always said we'll put $500 into the account, into the spending account each week, but it's been pretty hard to stay under that. We'll get into that soon, and it's pretty impossible some weeks, especially when you're travelling a far distance.
Yeah,
when we really want
we'll
to get out of
into
Victoria.
that when we do the price breakdown.
In our first month, we left home and completed South Australia, crossing the Nullarbor and ending up in Esperance.
So now we're going to go through the breakdown of each month. We did actually have to go home for May and pretty much most of June, so we're just not going to include a price breakdown for those 2 months since we weren't away.
Yeah. So for the month of February, fuel was $1,712.33. Obviously we had to leave Victoria, cover all of South Australia, and
then we also did the Nullarbor, so that was where we really had to stock up on fuel, and we went through a lot of fuel over a very short period of time. But it was quite expensive on the Nullarbor, so we did fill up.
Definitely put it up for that month and week.
Filled up both tanks completely as well, so definitely brought up the price for that.
Yeah. Groceries was $1,062.17.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad. It's around $250 a week, which is pretty good with today's prices. For miscellaneous, we had to get $40 cash out for some showers and laundry. Yep. And we spent $20 at Kmart on a new sheet as well, because it kept coming off the mattress that we got in the rooftop tent, so we bought one a bit bigger.
Yep, so that was a total of $60 for miscellaneous.
Yep. Accommodation, South Australia is very good for free camps. So we only spent $56 that month on campsites, which is crazy compared to what we've been spending now in WA.
Yeah, there is a lot of free camps in South Oz, but there was just a couple that we wanted to stay at, which did require payments. But most of the camps were only around $10 to $12 per person.
And it was only a couple of nights that we did that, so we did really well in South Australia.
Yep.
Takeout was $230.27.
Yep.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. That also includes alcohol as well. So we did go to the pub a couple of times and then grab a cheeky sausage roll every now and then. But yeah, it is definitely something that we've noticed when calculating this, that it adds up fast. Like just grabbing that quick couple dollar drink from the servo, it's
been our kryptonite.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
It's one way to save money is don't get sausage rolls and drinks from servos, and just depends. If you want to enjoy your life, get the sausage roll. But the total for February was $3,120.77, and the weekly breakdown divided by 4 is $780.19. So a little over the $570 that we were hoping to stay under, but that was our first month on the road and a bit of a sign of what was to come, I guess.
So now on to March. This month was pretty full on, which we'll get into. But to start off for fuel, we spent $1,448.38, which is a
little bit
less than last month. I think the Nullarbor really brought it up, but driving through WA, because it is so long, we did so much driving still. Groceries, we spent $1,057.26, which is still pretty much the same average as last.
$250 a week.
Yeah, same as last month.
Yeah.
So we kept that one pretty much the same. Miscellaneous, so to get into it, we did have some car troubles, which did require for us to stay in Carnarvon for about 10 days, I believe it was. So we do have a couple things on the miscellaneous. So first off, we have the taxi, because we had to get taxis to and from the mechanic. So the total cost of taxis was $67.62. Then we also did a car wash and boat wash, which was $20. We did $20 cash out on laundry for the month. And then we also spent $24 on Tackle World Kmart. So the total for miscellaneous was $157.62. So we did do a couple extra things, couple of extra purchases. We got our toasty maker too, which
that's been great.
That was a win. Accommodation, because of the caravan park, we did spend $560 in total at the caravan park. We did also have to get a cabin for one of the nights as well, and they had limited availability, so we just had to get whatever was
so obviously there. That's a purchase that we wouldn't have normally done, and definitely brought our prices up. Wasn't planned.
And then we also stayed at Quobba Station, which was $66 as well. So the total for accommodation was $626. Takeout, we did, because the car was at the mechanic quite a bit and we didn't have our cooking items, we did eat a little bit out, a bit more than we should have. We did splurge a little bit more for food, and then we also included our alcohol purchases. Chicken treat, spent a lot of time there. So the total for takeout was $316.04, which is adds up real fast, as I said before.
And we haven't obviously included the mechanic price for that month. Obviously that's something that not everyone's going to have. We unfortunately did have, but we didn't really include that because it's kind of going to skew the numbers for the weekly average if you were traveling yourself. So we've left that out. Just wanted to add that in.
Activities, we did actually go to Rottnest Island in March as well. So that was $125 per person. So that was awesome. That was $250 in total. And such a great experience. So worth it. We also, that included the bike hire and everything. And then also in the eating out, obviously included getting some food on the island as well. The total was $3,855.30 for the month, which makes the weekly average $963.82, which
it's a bit steep.
Is quite a bit, but considering everything that we went through that month,
Wasn't too bad.
yeah,
I guess.
mean, we could have done better, but we just had a lot of unexpected things come up, especially with the car. Yep. Yeah, we weren't expecting that to happen at all, and the way it went down either. So
No.
yeah,
That happens.
yes.
On to the next month.
Yep. So for April, we started off the month still at the caravan park in Carnarvon, and then we spent a little bit of time in Coral Bay with our mate who lives there, and then pretty much the rest of the month we were at the Ningaloo camps.
Yeah. So that's why we didn't do a lot of driving, just boat fuel pretty much.
So yeah, our spending this month is looking good.
Yeah.
So we'll get into it.
Fuel was $509.64. That is diesel and petrol, so a lot of that would have been for the boat. So yeah, the groceries was $909.82.
Yeah, we did stock up a bit before going to the Ningaloo camps.
Yeah.
As well as we were catching a fair bit of fish and things like
squid.
that, which helped out quite a bit.
Accommodation was $150 for the caravan park at the start of that month.
Yeah, we had about 3 nights.
Each night we paid before this trip to kind of ease the cost off a bit. It was $10 per night along the Ningaloo camps. And
we pre-booked back in October last year, so that wasn't part of any of our trip spending, because we paid for that just out of what we were earning at the time.
That was around $600 though, but we didn't put that in because we didn't pay for it during the month. And then we have got miscellaneous. We spent $50 on firewood because we were allowed to have a fire at the time, which was really great. Yep. We tried to do damper, it didn't turn out too well. And then we also had $32.41 on taxis when we were in Carnarvon. Yep. Just to get to the mechanic once again.
Yeah, so that was a total of $82.41 on miscellaneous.
Yep. And then takeout was $338.15. That was
quite big. I think most of it, having a look at the transactions again, was because actually most of it was Coral Bay, because we caught up with one of our mates who was up there and kind of getting there. It was Jarvis' birthday weekend as well, so the very first weekend we had a couple of breakfasts and things like that. Drinks. Drinks, food, we kind of splurged a little bit, especially after everything we were kind of going through at the caravan park. We were like, we deserve to have some fun with our friends, so yeah.
So the total for April was $2,071, which is a weekly average of $517.75. So just in budget, which is good.
So the first month of the trip that we actually stayed within our budget. So
besides the mechanic bills that we didn't include. So we're obviously skipping May and June, as I said before, since we went home. So on to July. For fuel, we spent $632.40. We did a lot less driving as we were kind of spending more time in certain places instead of moving every day. Groceries, we spent $811, which is pretty good. Accommodation, we did stay at a couple of caravan parks in Karratha and Dampier. So that was $370 in total for both of those caravan parks. Miscellaneous, Jarv did drop his phone in the boat. Into water.
Into water. Got onto the Trevally. If you've go back and watch that video, and his phone did fall into the water and we didn't notice for a little bit, so Jarv had to buy a new phone, so this cost is a little bit more than what it would have been if that didn't happen, but in total for the new phone and having to get everything all transferred and everything, it was $2,056.10, and then we also spent $35 on taxis because the car had to go back to the mechanic whilst we were there.
We had to get a new alternator while we were in Karratha, so we're stuck in the caravan park again, and we didn't include that. That was $1,800 for a few belts and a new alternator and a new fan. So
we didn't include that in the price again, just as Jarv said before. It's not really like
some people have less, some people have none, some people have more.
It's a bit more of like a personal
We've had our fair share
cost of things. We've had a fair share of car troubles.
Yeah. It's an older car, so I guess that's what you expect, but yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Takeout was $335, which I was shocked when we saw that.
Yeah. Coral Bay pizzas.
Coral Bay pizzas, yeah. When we we went back to Coral Bay, obviously hanging out with friends and everything, you just kind of get a bit carried away. So in total, it was $4,239.50, which is a weekly average of $1,059.87. Without a new phone, it would have been $2,183.10 in total instead of the $4,000. So that was around $550 a week, which would have been
good
within budget if we didn't have to get that new phone.
Yeah. So that happens, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we did pretty well for staying in budget for that month. The phone was pretty much just like
and we had fish
the major expense.
In Dampier. It was pretty good. We thought of a few tips that you can use to save some money on your travels. The first one was, if you're really trying to save money, then not spending money on takeaway like coffees and snacks at servos. That can really save you a lot of money in the long run. Just $20 a week after 52 weeks, a whole year, is $1,040. So it adds up quickly, and that's only if you're spending $20 a week, which is easy to do in one go, one servo. So it's the first tip.
We'd say to plan your meals. That definitely helps a lot. Instead of going into the supermarket and just grabbing random things, just make sure you plan what you need to get and try and buy things that you can use for multiple meals as well. Yeah,
we definitely weren't the best at that at the start, but we've got a lot better
as
time went on. Alcohol is obviously quite expensive everywhere, especially when you get more remote. It can be even more expensive. So if you can cut down on it a bit, then I know everyone loves a beer, but if you can cut down on it a bit, that can definitely save you a lot of money because it's quite expensive.
Yeah. Camping, try and free camp as much as possible. That helps you save a fair bit of money. Caravan parks can be quite expensive, especially if you're wanting to stay somewhere for a while. An example which really helped us was when we stayed at Esperance. There wasn't many free camps in town, but we found one that was 15 minutes out, a roadside camp, which saved us instead of paying for a caravan park. So we just drove 15 minutes in and out each day, and that was a really great way that we saved money. We do use wiki camps as well to help us find campgrounds and things like that to stay at.
Yeah, you definitely have to have wiki camps if you're traveling. It saves you big time, especially for water filling up and all types of stuff. It's the best.
Toilets.
Definitely recommend it. Also, filling up your car, we use Fuel Maps Australia. It's a good way to see where the cheapest fuel prices are. If you are at a servo and it's quite cheap, then definitely fill up your tank as much as you can. Saves you having to stop somewhere else sooner, even if it seems like a big purchase at the time. Can definitely save you money in the long run if you're filling up at a cheaper price than trying to save money and filling up again in not too long.
Yeah.
We hope this gave you some good advice or knowledge about travelling Australia in 2024 and what it can cost.
We'll film an updated version of this once we finish our trip at the end of the year and keep you guys updated on how we went with our expenses.
And if you are thinking of travelling Australia, we definitely recommend it if you're able to. It's one of the best things we've done. We've met so many amazing people, been to so many amazing places, and we're so glad that we did it when we did.
Yeah. Stay tuned for the rest of our travel videos, and we'll see you next Sunday in our next video.
Bye.
Bye.